we go! The first episode of the new year. So, welcome to the It's Stuck with Nasty podcast, episode number 15. If you listened to last week's podcast, we discussed setting some goals for ourselves and crushing this new year. If you haven't, be sure to check that one out. I know you'll find some value in it. So we have set our goals now and have our eyes set on the prize, but now the real work begins. Now we have to put the rubber to the road and make these goals happen. Remember, the best goals to set are the ones where you can't necessarily see the path to success. They are the ones that make you a little uncomfortable without being totally delusional. Now, because we can't see the exact steps to take, there's a solid chance things are gonna get a bit hairy, sooner or later. This is when we are going to put our heads down and grind it out. We gotta put in the work for the things that we want to achieve. Problem is, this is where most people give up. Right at those first couple of times they feel any kind of a resistance or setback, they quit. How many people do you know that have started something at the beginning of a new year or any Monday and then quit within the first month? I'm guessing a bunch. This is a huge identifier of successful people who will do whatever it takes to get where they want to be, no matter what resistance they have to endure. Perhaps the reason so many people struggle with this concept of pushing through the resistance is their sense of entitlement. Over the last few years, I feel, quote-unquote, millennials have gotten a bad rap, and I'd say it's strongly related to the whole entitlement thing. You know, not saying we are the only generation to do it, but it seems to run a bit rampant in our ranks. I really don't blame others in our generation for feeling entitled either sometimes. You know, many were just raised that way, to expect certain things. While more and more parents are trying to be their kids' friends and doing anything to keep from upsetting them. You know, it's no wonder they feel entitled to things. They get everything they want without having to work for it. So when it comes time to achieve a goal that cannot just be handed to them or fixed with a pill, they may get excited looking at the goal and then fail as soon as it becomes difficult. However, if you were raised to work for things that you want, chances are good you'll be decent at setting and achieving your goals, whatever they may be. You know, one problem of feeling entitled to something is that you won't appreciate that thing the same way as if you had earned it. And it really does feel good to earn something you have worked hard for. Think about back in the day when there were cheat codes in video games, like for all video games. Yeah, sure, you got that hard to get thing that you've been longing for, but the luster wears off really quick. But if you had worked to get it the way you were supposed to acquire it, then you would always have that feeling of accomplishment tied to that thing. Unfortunately for some, there are no cheat codes to life. Maybe some hacks, but no cheats. So it's time to let go of our constant need for instant gratification. It's time to grab a new can of elbow grease and apply liberally. And maybe do something for yourself for once. As far as I know, we are not in the Matrix. Though there is some evidence that we are actually part of a digital construct. Anyways, conspiracy theories aside, we are not currently able to download skill sets directly into our brain cavity. That's right, you want to be good at something, then you better do it. And do it a lot. And then when you think you've done enough, do it some more. And then when you get tired of doing it, that's when you find out if this is what you were made for or not. The estimated time to master skills is something like 10,000 hours. That means if you do the skill for an hour a day, every day, you'll master the skill in about 27 years. Luckily, you can still be great at things without mastering them. However, if the skill is your lifeblood, mastery is probably the goal. I'd say the 10,000 hours is pretty accurate though. Of course, it depends what the skill is. Like mastering the skill of using a can opener is probably not going to take 10,000 hours. So if it takes 10,000 hours to master a skill, obviously time commitment comes into the picture. We can't be great at everything, you know, that we want to be great at. There's just not enough time to accommodate an abundance of skills. Unless, of course, you're Hermione Granger and you have a time turner in your possession, of course, we should probably turn that thing in because it's not legal for you to use. So we need to decide what we value most and get great at it through practice. Luckily, we don't have to master something to know if we want to continue pursuit, or we do have to try new things and work hard to determine if we would like to continue developing the skill or move on to something different, and not move on to something different just because it just got difficult. That's not why we want to change to something different. That's what happens a lot. People will change to something different because it's like, well, I've done this thing and I don't think I'm having any success with it, even though they just got set back a little bit, but they could have kept pushing through it and gotten better, but instead they just quit and went to something else. Just remember, no one just wakes up one day having acquired a new skill. The greatest artists and musicians and whatever else that you can think of did not wake up one day being great. They are great because they did what they do a lot, experiencing different things and building skills along the way. Of course, some people may have some natural talent that allows them to develop certain skills at a faster clip, but that should never be used as an excuse as to why you cannot learn the skill. And I can see this excuse way too much. Sometimes the skills we are developing aren't even the ones we set out to achieve. Say my goal is to build an awesome community through live broadcasting. The goal was to build a community, but by broadcasting frequently, my speaking and thought processes have improved, allowing me to construct better sentences. I didn't set out to improve my speaking and thought processes. Same with when I picked up reading last year. I set a goal for reading a certain amount of books over a year's span. I achieved the goal, but also acquired improved reading speeds and comprehension. Again, not a goal I had set, but a skill I had earned. I'm going to coin them skill subroutines. Stuff that happens in the background, So this year, my goal is to draw 1 hour a day, every day. So the goal is 365 days of consecutive drawing, but maybe the skills I will acquire are improved hand-eye coordination, or maybe improved execution speeds, or even maybe some more patience. Who knows? I will at the end though, at 2019, I will know. Just remember, we should always be working towards something. Maybe it does not end up being your end game, but you will acquire valuable skills along the way that can be used elsewhere throughout your life. Also, I know when I am practicing a skill, I will get I wouldn't say very, but I will get pretty good at something, but then not be able to reach the next level. So practicing the same things over and over, though developing your skill at that particular thing, may also hold you back. So be sure to mix things up when you begin to get impatient or tired of what you're doing. It's very much like working on a piece of art. You don't want to spend all your time in one area until it's complete and then move on to the next area. You want to move around the piece, working on a little bit here and a little bit there, trying to build it up over time and maintaining a cohesive look. And when impatience or boredom rear its ugly head, don't rush the process. Take a break. Do something else. Rushing to finish a piece may leave you with something less than what you had desired, as chances are good the final piece could have been also so much better. So remember to have patience, as rushing to the finish line will likely leave you unsatisfied unless, of course, you're in a race. Then get there as quick as you can. He said ace. He said ace. How often have you heard the saying, hard work pays off? I believe in this statement, however, I would change it to hard work pays off, but not always how one would expect. I say this because the truth of the matter is, just because you work hard towards something does not mean that that thing you are working towards will always come to fruition. This is not to say that you should not work towards your goals. Just know sometimes the journey of working towards that goal may be the thing that changes your life the most. This is also an excellent opportunity to flex your positivity muscles, guys. So maybe you didn't hit your goal. The key is to not make it a negative and, that you're a failure. You don't want to be negative and say that you're a failure and knock yourself down. You want to keep it positive and focus on what the journey has added to your life. What can you take of that was positive? Think about it. Let's say everyone in the broadcasting space had the exact same work ethic. Every single one of them. They'll all crush it and won't quit when they feel a little resistance. Even though they are all working equally as hard as the next person, for one reason or another, certain people are going to rise to the top. It is inevitable. So putting in hard work towards specific goals does not always net the results you were looking for. However, if you truly put in the effort and the hard work, and you're not just saying that you work hard, doors are going to open for you even if it's where you'd least expect it. So stop wasting time, guys. Get after those goals this year, and when it gets tough, grit those teeth and push through. Get uncomfortable and grow to be the greatest version of yourself in this new year. Happy 2019, guys. Hope you found this motivating, guys. But for now, let's boot up the last week's review subroutine and check out what we did last week. So last Monday, we had the final stream of 2019. The goal for last year was to get to 50 follows before 2019. So we were at 45 starting the stream on Monday, and you guys came through, crushed it. And on the final day of the year, we got 5 more follows. So now we're sitting at a crisp 50 to start the new year. So that's good. And then we also streamed on Wednesday and Friday like we normally do. Pretty standard streams. Had some fun. Last week I also got my new drawing monitor, which is super awesome. I love it. You know, it's definitely a learning curve, something that I'm not used to using, so it's gonna take a little bit of time to get good at. But once I get good at it, I mean, not great, just good. I mean, I'm not scared to draw on live, you know, on a live broadcast. Even though I'm not the greatest yet, but I promise, after doing it for at least an hour a day, because that's the goal for 2019, 1 hour a day, every day, at least, of drawing. I promise that I'm going to develop some skills, and maybe you guys can hang around and watch those skills grow. I think that's pretty sweet, but I'll let you know a little bit more about that. So yeah, that was pretty much everything that happened last week. So this week we're going to do our standard streaming. I'll let you know what days and times on Twitter and Instagram. Make sure you follow me on @It'sLikeWignasty on those platforms, and I will let you know when I'm going to go live. But next week, I would also like to work on a scene transition. I started it a couple weeks ago, but I haven't gotten around to kind of finishing it. So we'll see if I can't get that done this week. So that's the goal for this week. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the podcast. Hope you found some value in it. Hope that you'll stop out this week in the broadcast. Like I said, I'll let you know. If I don't see you in the broadcast this week, I will definitely catch you next week in the podcast. Again, appreciate you guys for being here, and I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.